Hi, it's Kevin May in the Phocuswright studio at the Phocuswright Conference 2021. I'm delighted to be joined by Jeff Berk. You're the CEO of Tripkicks, and you were one of our Hot 25 travel startups for 2021, which we released to the day this time last year. So a belated congratulations, because we couldn't do it in person last year. So
thank you.
I suppose we might as well say, how was your year?
The year was an intense one. For anyone in the industry, it was surely intense. For us, it was really exciting because I think once the pandemic set in, everyone had to kind of take a step back and say, how does everything that's happening now kind of change what we're doing as a business and, where our customers are and the value prop that we have. So we were no different. And Since then, we've really been focused on deploying a new platform out to the marketplace, and that's been our past year.
Okay, so
obviously happy to talk more about that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you said figuring out what is our value to corporations. What was it before and what is it now?
So when we started out, we were very much focused on incentivizing travelers to make, the best decisions. We've kind of backed up, and I think as the industry has evolved a little bit, we've kind of realized that travelers are motivated by different things. And while we were heavily focused on monetary rewards in the past, we realized that now, companies have different cultures, travelers are different. Someone might be motivated by staying at a green property or supporting, a diverse supplier. So there are different motivators that apply to different travelers, and it's not all about money. So we've really kind of backed up, and we've been focused on guiding traveler behavior, influencing traveler decisions, and kind of trying to find that, perfect alignment between what a company wants you to do and what's also good for the traveler. So that's really been our focus.
Because those things might not meet in the middle.
They might not meet in the middle.
So how do you kind of unravel that?
At the end of the day, our clients are corporations, right? So we want to work in their best interests, and we're trying to help them achieve their goals. But a lot of times, especially now, their goals aren't dissimilar to their travelers' goals. The ESG movement be a huge impact on our client base, as we tend to work with larger organizations who, have made commitments to regulatory bodies and their shareholders and everybody about what they're going to do in that space. And it's also equally as important to travelers. We were talking before the interview about how we haven't traveled in 2 years, A lot of things are different. The workforce is different. There are lots of younger travelers, and a lot of the studies show that these priorities are even more important to the younger workforce than they were previously. So for a company who's trying to promote, greener travel, that's what their travelers want to see as well. Yeah. So they're not all dissimilar.
Okay, so promoting greener travel is a great thing to put on your corporate social responsibility page on your website if you're a big company. How does that manifest itself from what the traveler wants to do and what you're able to provide?
We're all about influencing traveler decisions. So we are very much, we don't view our tool as we're not for the back office. We're not for the travel manager at a company. We're something that allows a company to take action on their program and actually get out there in front of the traveler. So and that's kind of what we saw was a little unique in what we were doing, is that there are lots of tools around, help me understand my travel program better, right? Show me what my goals should be. But in terms of enabling companies to actually do something about it, that's where we didn't really see that many companies that were doing that. And we said, that's a great opportunity because it's something that every company wants to do, right? They want their travelers to spend less. They want their travelers to use preferred suppliers. They want their travelers to make better decisions. So we've really focused on, we've kind of started with the point of sale. That's a key moment for the traveler to be making those decisions. So we've brought a lot of additional information to the point of sale for the traveler so that they can make a more informed decision. And we've also allowed their companies to better guide those behaviors and communicate things that maybe they haven't been able to in the past.
Do you sense, we're just a few days after COP26 finished in Glasgow in the UK and Scotland, and to turn to the sustainability part of this, do you sense perhaps the drive to make better decisions and do things in a more sustainable way is coming from travelers themselves or the companies they work for, or neither? They're just doing it from their own conscience, whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think the reason it's getting so much attention right now in the world and in our industry is because it's a little bit of the perfect storm, right? It's coming from the top, where you have board level goals and priorities, where you have the board of directors saying, we need to make this a reality because we have regulatory pressures, because we have pressures from our investors, because it's the right thing to do, right? So you're seeing that from the top, but you're also seeing it from the bottom, which is the employee base. And that's where, again, a lot of the new kind of workforce demographics, this is very important to them.
Yeah.
So they're kind of aligned with the board level objectives, which is why it's become such a major topic in our industry and a major priority for companies.
I wonder whether some of, especially the younger employees who want to travel in a more sustainable way, might actually find themselves getting some resistance from their companies that they work for, because this is the way we've always done it. We don't quite buy into it yet. They probably wouldn't say that publicly, but you know what I mean? They talk to the travel manager. I think you said green hotels or green property providers and things like that. They may want to still do it in the way they used to because they had a preferred supplier. So you get that kind of internal conflict within a company, possibly.
You do. And I think it's something that all companies now are kind of trying to figure out what that new equation is in terms of their program and how important is price. Is it as important as it always was? And I think the answer is yes, but you just have other things that are now very important that perhaps weren't as important to companies in the past. So I think it's something companies are trying to figure out right now. Something that that I think we've seen in the business travel space is a lot of the innovation actually comes from the larger companies versus the smaller companies from the enterprise perspective.
Okay.
And that's because they have the resources, they have the teams, they want to be more forward thinking, and what they do to kind of set the precedent will trickle down to more of that like mid-market SMB segment. So I think in terms of companies, maybe that resistance that you talked about, we're not really seeing it as much with the big companies.
Right.
They're focused on driving change. The mid-market, I don't know if it's quite there yet, but I think it'll be there soon.
So I suspect you're going to say yes, but as a journalist, we're inherently skeptic about almost everything. So we're in this kind of COP26 bubble. We had the Greta effect in 2019 and all those kind of things. Do you honestly believe that this is a strategy that many companies are going to stick to around sustainability and trying to make greener choices? Or is it lip service because it's the zeitgeist at the moment?
I think it's something that they're going to stick to. I think we're seeing more and more regulatory pressure. We're starting to see, starting in Europe, starting to trickle into the States. I absolutely think you're going to continue to see it. I think what hasn't been determined yet in the travel industry is exactly how our company is going to respond to it. How are they going to address it? That's what everyone's figuring out. But I don't think, as a priority, I certainly don't think it's going anywhere.
Okay, a hopeful note to end on. Thank you very much, Jeff Berk from Tripkicks. Really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks, Devin.